What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today we're going over the Orly Cloudscape collection for summer 2024. We've got 6 brand new nail polishes, mostly creams but one shimmer, and it's actually a really beautiful bright rainbow. But before we get into that, if you haven't heard of Orly before, they are a mainstream nail polish brand and all of their polishes are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients. They're cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals, and they're also listed as being formulated without harmful ingredients. So they do have a list of the ingredients that they are free of on their website, but they are trying to move away from the language of like 3 free, 5 free, 10 free, 20 free, 50 free, because I'll admit it is getting a little bit out of hand these days. But yeah, like I said, we've got a rainbow of new colors to go over today, so I'm going to swatch them all first, then we can talk a little bit about my thoughts on the collection, and then we can get into pricing and availability and all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. I'm sure this won't come as a surprise, but I'm using the Orly Bonder base coat for this one. So we'll go in rainbow order here. This first shade is called Take Flight, and this is a gorgeous coral pink cream shade. And as you can see from the first swipe, it is just so creamy and opaque. I can definitely get away with wearing this one in one coat, but I did end up doing 2 just to show you what it looked like, and this is just such a stunning shade. I've mentioned it recently, but I am very much in my coral phase right now, so I was really excited to have this option. Now, I don't usually do this, but maybe I should start. I just recently reviewed the OPI collection for summer, and they also had a coral in there, so I thought I would show a little side by side of what they look like next to each other. I'm gonna be honest, I think they're different enough that I can justify having both of them. It's harder to tell on camera, but the OPI one is slightly dustier, so I feel like depending on my mood, if I want to go with a deeper, more bold color, I would go with the Orly, and if I wanted a lighter, slightly dustier color, I would go with the OPI. Next up, we have the shade New Horizons, and this one is a gorgeous, slightly dusty light orange cream, and this is another one where I was just really impressed with the formula. It was almost one coat, but I did need a second to get full coverage, but the formula was just so smooth and creamy. It was very easy to work with, and it's just such a beautiful color. It feels like a perfect transition from spring into summer. So OPI also had a slightly similar orange in their collection, so I thought I would compare these two as well, but again, I think they're different enough. In fact, the OPI one I actually thought had a little bit more of an autumnal vibe to it because it's a little bit darker and more brownish toned, whereas the Orly one is a little bit brighter and more kind of like a sherbet color. So I do like them both, but I do think that they actually end up working better for different seasons, although I could also see a really nice subtle orange gradient with the two of them. And then we have the shade Sunny Side Up, and this is the only shimmer of the collection. So we have this really bright yellow base color, and then within that we have a very subtle coppery iridescent shimmer running throughout. So I really love the base color of this. I love the idea of this shimmer, but I feel like for me, it just didn't end up working as well as I had hoped. Now, I talk about this a lot, but I feel like yellow nail polishes do tend to be a little bit on the sheer side, so I'm used to them being 3 coaters on me. And when I did 3 coats of this one, I felt like it was fully opaque, but there were still some areas that looked a little bit patchier or streaky on the nail, so I wasn't too pleased with that. I still think it pairs really nicely with the rest of the polishes in this collection, so I do plan on still wearing it as a skittle, but I don't think I would wear it as a full manicure just because I don't love that kind of streakiness. Moving on, we have the shade Field of Wonder, and this one is described as a pistachio green cream, and I have to say we've been getting some good green nail polishes this season, but this is truly the most gorgeous green that I have seen in a really long time. There is just something about this color that feels so perfect. It's light enough that it almost has a pastel vibe to it, but it's also very saturated. It doesn't have that dustiness to it, so it almost kind of just looks like, I don't know, pistachio latte or matcha latte kind of vibes, and I think it's just absolutely stunning. Next up, we have the shade Stratosphere, and this one is a very light Periwinkle Cream shade. And this was another one I was really impressed with because, again, it kind of has the feel of a pastel shade, but the color isn't dusty. It's just very, very light. So it's a really beautiful color. It does feel like a perfect cloudy nail kind of vibe. And what really impressed me about this one was the formula. It was just so opaque in 2 coats, which I feel like is rare for a color that's this close to white. So I was really impressed with the color, but I was really, really impressed with the coverage. And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Indigo Skies, which, as you can imagine, is an indigo cream shade. But I will say, I do think that it ended up leaning a little bit more blue toned on me, and I think that's probably just because of my skin's undertone, but this is another really beautiful shade. I know some people just don't think creams are exciting, but I have to say, sometimes a color just hits me and I love it, and I feel that way about Indigo Skies and Field of Wonder in this collection. I just think they're both absolutely stunning, and they're just a little bit different from everything I have, so that makes them very special. But this was a perfect one in 2 coats, and I also think it looks really nice next to the lighter shade Stratosphere. I feel like that would be a very pretty gradient. So here's all the colors together, and I love this color story. I think it's such a beautiful rainbow, and I love having the option of 2 different blue kind of polishes if I wanted to wear a Skittle manicure, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but I do think that all of these colors are gorgeous. I love that they're light and a little bit dreamy without having that dustiness to them. I just love the saturation, but they still ended up making the shades like very light, kind of fluffy vibes. You know what I mean? Very, very cloudscapey. I can see why they named it that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about it. So those are the polishes. All of the creams were incredible as usual. I love their formula. They're super opaque, they're super self-leveling, and they're just really easy to work with, a very beginner-friendly brand. The shimmer did fall a little flat for me because of the sheerness, but honestly, that does tend to happen with yellow polishes. I feel like it's just so much harder to get the opacity right on those. So I was a little bit disappointed in that, but I'm probably still gonna wear it as a Skittle manicure because all of these colors together look so beautiful. And I really appreciate having both the periwinkle and the deeper blue, because if I want to do a rainbow Skittle that's like a little bit softer and brighter, I can go with the periwinkle color. But if I want it to be more bold and intense, I can go with the darker blue. So it's really fun to have that option. But yeah, like I said, overall, I did enjoy these. I do think it's a very beginner-friendly brand, and you also just get a lot for your money. They come in 18 milliliter bottles, which is absolutely massive. Definitely the biggest nail polish bottle I own. It's very hard to finish a bottle of Orly, and they also feature a rubberized cap, which makes opening and closing the bottles super easy. I know there are some brands that just get so stuck and it's difficult to work with, but I've never had an issue with my Orly ones, even if I get the neck of the bottle a little bit messy. So I think that's a really great feature. So these are available wherever you buy your Orly nail polishes. Direct from the website, the 18 milliliter bottles retail for $10.50 each. So I'll link that down in the description, as well as a couple other retailers if you're interested. But I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this collection? What do you think of the skittling possibilities? And what do you think of that shimmer polish? Leave it all in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Ken, Rosie, and Angel. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact is another would you rather question. So the question is, would you rather have a photographic memory or be able to read minds? I feel like this is a very easy answer for me. I would absolutely love to read minds. I'm very much a people pleaser, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I always ask people if they're happy, if they're enjoying themselves, whatever. And it would be nice to just have the peace of mind to just kind of check in with them mentally and know that they're enjoying themselves. Because I do feel like sometimes if you ask that question a lot, it gets annoying and then you're not having as good of a time. But I already have a very good memory. I feel like I don't have a photographic memory, but I do remember very detailed things very well, especially numbers. I feel like I'm very good at remembering numbers. And I guess it's not technically photographic, but I feel like I can kind of, like, if I ever lost something, I can visualize like where the last place I put it was. Like I can almost like replay the memory of it in my head, and that's kind of how I find things. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. Would you rather be able to read minds, or would you rather have a photographic memory? Leave it in the comments. We can chat about it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.